Hi, Jimbo Merrill here, Senior Market Advisor for Old Wise Ones with the December 4th weekly market commentary. It was a November to remember for anybody that was an investor. The strong November run in stocks had favorable news in all the right places. Inflation was moderating, the Fed signaled a hold on interest rate hikes, and corporate earnings were higher than expected. Stocks gained 9% in November, which was the seventh best monthly return in the past 30 years. The next chart shows how the peak in interest rates at the beginning of November really jump-started the November equity rally. Not only was it a party for equities in November, in fact, investment-grade bonds logged their best monthly return in more than 30 years. Inflation is definitely heading in the right direction. The November meeting of the Federal Reserve had them holding steady with no rise in interest rates. We expect the Fed to keep this policy going forward and on hold with interest rate rises until they start reducing them late in 2024. The labor market is showing signs of some weakness. We do see a holiday rally in equities starting to slow with some more volatility increasing. With that, equity markets always are more risky and may turn lower. It's a stock picker's market right now, and some stocks have run up too far and are quite expensive, with small cap stocks underperforming over the recent past. A key measurement for many investors is the future price to earnings ratio. Be sure to check on that and make a call to your tax advisor and or your financial planner on any moves you want to make. Next up, an Old Wise Ones discussion on year-end estate planning and the importance of healthcare directives. I'm Larry Mondello, and I'm host of the Old Wise Ones. We have some special guests from all over the world on today's show, and we will be discussing specific positions named in family trust documents and how to plan for a smooth asset transition to the next generation. With us today, Oliver Burke is here today.
Hello, and welcome.
And Susie is with us from Palm Springs. Say hello, Susie.
I'm so excited to be here today.
Well, we're excited you're here today, too. Tito from down south.
Yeah, hello, everybody. Hey, my sweet old mother-in-law just died from a cliff. She was like cliff jumping, and she jumped and didn't come back up.
She's like a bungee jump?
Yeah, but they do that in Mexico. They do cliff jumping. She jumped and never came back up. So yeah, I heard this episode's about death, so I thought, let me just bring that story in.
Okay, well, that's cheery. All right, Cordelia, we have Cordelia's from far from England, and she's here today.
Yes, indeed, I am. Yes, I was. I have to say that's a terrifying story, Tito, about your beloved grandmother pulling herself off the top of a cliff for no apparent reason. I mean, is it something you do for fun in Mexico, or what? Why would you jump off a cliff?
Yeah, they do. We do that for fun. We like to think we're eagles flying.
Yes, well, you're not. You're just ordinary human beings, and my God, I mean, the whole coastline around there must be knee deep in dead Mexicans. I mean, good Lord, man. I mean,
yeah, she learned that the hard way.
Yes, stop your people from jumping off cliffs.
We also have Brenda Starr with us today. Say hello, Brenda.
Well, hello there. Happy to be here.
Well, I'm glad you're here too. So, Tito, I think we've got some questions that have come in. Why don't you read one of the questions that have come in recently?
Oh, yeah, of course. So we have a lot of questions about wills and trust. And then here's one from Sammy in Fresno, California. He's married with 3 young children. He asked, what is healthcare directive? And do I need one for my wife and I? And do the minor children need one also?
That's a really good question. And everybody needs a healthcare directive. A healthcare directive basically tells your healthcare people, your hospital, your doctor, your nurses, and everybody that you're being treated by, exactly what your wishes are, what you would put up with, what you do not resuscitate. All of those issues are in there, and it's important to control it. So that's a very important aspect.
Where did you find one of these healthcare directives? I mean, Does the hospital give it to you? Can you find it online or
Well,
what?
good question, Cordelia. Yeah, you can, the hospital will provide you one, but I would not recommend that because that comes from their perspective and protects them first. So what I would do is first I would Google healthcare directive in the state that you're living. They're state specific. You could get them that way. The other place to get them is to reach out to an attorney that's a state planning attorney in the state that you are living. They can help you get those documents together too. That's the best two sources, I think. Yeah, as far as the healthcare directive for minor children, though, you do not need those because the parents have legal rights over the healthcare of their children. When they turn 18, then they do need them because the parents don't have a right after they turn 18 to be in charge of their healthcare anymore. That's commonly missed when people get to that age group.
Okay, I have a question. So if the parents live in California, let's say, but the 18-year-old is away at college in Maine, what state are you going to do the healthcare directive?
I would probably recommend that they do one in each state in case the kid is in either place.
Good.
Same document, just a different format probably in each state.
Right.
I would say Euphoria is also a good state.
So we have a question here from, it looks like we have Cordelia's got a question about a neighbor of hers. Is that true?
Yes. I'm a friend of mine who is a neighbor. And I'm not sure if this applies to where you lot are all living, but poor man, he's very pleasant. I help him out every now and then. He's a bit of an old codger and he doesn't really understand things, and so I found him the other day, literally, tits up in the marrow patch. There he was, lying in his garden, barely breathing at all. And I wondered what am I supposed to do in a situation where I find some elderly gentleman, clearly in trouble. Am I responsible for him? Am I, what? I mean, I don't like the man that much, but I mean, as my neighbor, I feel I have a duty to.
You legally responsible, just as a human being, to call 911.
So,
do you have 911 in England?
Except it's 999.
Why?
We have trouble with ones. One's relations are always trouble. One's parents are. You can't wait to get rid of them. Anything with ones in it, it's not good for us.
So you just have all tourists just need to learn it's 999 if you've got a neighbor tits up in his patch.
Right. Mind you, this is a national health service, so you call 999. Really, it's your own risk. Who knows if there's anybody there. You call 999 and you get some young woman on the phone. You got no idea what she's doing. No, I'm sorry, dear. They're all off having. No, wait a minute. I've got this man who's desperately in need of trouble. Yeah, well, they'll be back in 17 minutes. Anyhow, enough of me.
Well, so anyway, I think what I would tell people is it is a contract between you and your family. It is an arrangement that you and your wife will do with your children, your uncles, your entire family. So yes, you should communicate with them exactly the position that they will hold in the estate plan.
But in fact, you don't have any legal demand that you have to, right?
No.
I mean, you just write a will, and once you die, the executor of that will has to notify all the people who are going to get stuff, right?
If they know that they're the executor.
Well, and that's the rub. Some people do these documents and they keep it between them CPA and the attorney and the husband and wife, and they don't bother telling, especially people in older generations who are not very open about their money with their children.
Right.
And I recommend every adult child to ask their parents if they have a trust, if they have a will, and ask it from that perspective, just so everybody knows who's supposed to be doing what.
Well, anyway, that should be enough for today. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Old Wise Ones. Make sure you look us up on Apple Music, Spotify, and all your favorite podcast platforms.